I woke up to a miracle today. Triggers stay as I find my way. No judgment to lead astray. In this peaceful state I'll stay.
Welcome to A Course in Miracles in Practice. Today we're diving into an exploration of a really powerful lesson. It states, very simply, I follow in the way appointed me.
We've spent a lot of time establishing this idea of a shared purpose, that what I give to you, I receive.
Right, that we're all in this together, fundamentally. But this lesson takes that big collective idea and brings it right back home. It asks, okay, if the purpose is shared, what's my part? What is my specific role in this grand design?
And that question immediately runs into a lot of worldly conditioning. Because when we hear words like purpose or calling, our minds jump to very specific things.
A career, a particular life path, finding your passion, as they say. But the lesson isn't talking about any of that.
It's not fate, it's not a job title, it's describing the very mechanism of the Holy Spirit, how guidance works through each of us in a form that is perfectly suited for us and for the whole.
So the whole exploration today,
It's about learning to trust that your path is already unfolding as part of a plan that is already complete.
we're always really interested to hear how these ideas land with you, how they show up in your own practice. So as we go through this, feel free to connect with us and share whatever comes up for you. Lesson 317. I follow in the way appointed me.
I have a special place to fill, a role for me alone.
Salvation waits until I take this part as what I choose to do. Until I make this choice, I am the slave of time and human destiny.
But when I willingly and gladly go the way my Father's plan appointed me to go, then will I recognize salvation is already here, already given all my brothers and already mine as well.
And the lesson gives us this beautiful prayer to affirm that choice. Father, your way is what I choose today.
Where it would lead me do I choose to go? What it would have me do I choose to do?
Your way is certain and the end secure.
The memory of you awaits me there, and all my sorrows end in your embrace, which you have promised to your Son, who thought mistakenly that he had wandered from the sure protection of your loving arms.
There's so much packed into those few lines, but that central idea that the plan is already complete, it's what you could call an inversion of control.
I think for most of our lives, we operate from this baseline assumption that we have to make things happen. We have to force outcomes, manage perceptions, predict the future, and steer the ship through sheer effort. And this lesson offers the alternative. It says, what if you just stopped? What if you stopped trying to force the river to flow in the direction you think it should? The moment you release that grip, something incredible happens.
A kind of calm sets in.
It's the peace that comes from no longer fighting a battle that you were never meant to win.
But I think this is where the mind really puts up a fight. It raises the question of free will. If the plan is complete, if the end is secure, then what am I even doing here? Am I just a puppet?
That is the central paradox, isn't
Yes.
it? And the lesson's answer is so elegant. The plan is complete. The destination is certain. That part is not up for negotiation. Your free will lies in one choice, and one choice only.
The choice to go willingly or to resist.
The freedom to say yes to what is or no. All of our suffering, all of that striving comes from trying to exercise the freedom we don't have. The freedom to create a different plan, a different destination.
So the only real freedom is in alignment. The freedom to stop fighting.
Yes. And the moment you assent, the moment you say yes to that appointed way, you step off the ego's treadmill, that whole vast, complicated machinery in your mind that's dedicated to controlling everything. It just powers down, and the silence it leaves behind is that profound, matter-of-fact peace.
And the lesson is very clear about the alternative. It doesn't pull any punches. It says, until I make this choice, I am the slave of time and human destiny. That's a really heavy phrase.
When it says slavery of time, it doesn't just mean you have a busy schedule. It means time becomes a prison of repetition. You are condemned to relive the same core conflicts over and over.
They just show up with different faces and different situations.
Exactly. It's the same relationship dynamic with a new partner. It's the same feeling of burnout in a new job. It's that feeling of, how did I end up here again? You're constantly moving, but you're not making any forward progress. You're just walking in a circle.
And that's what it calls human destiny. This predictable cause and effect loop where the past just keeps creating the future.
Yes, if I believe I'm unworthy, my human destiny is to keep finding situations that seem to prove it. Time becomes the ego's enforcer. It just keeps serving up the next piece of evidence for the story of fear you believe in.
So the learning can never really land. The lesson is presented, but because we're resisting our part, we refuse to learn it.
But look at the shift when the choice is made, willingly and gladly. Suddenly, time's entire function changes. It stops being a prison and becomes a classroom. It starts to serve healing instead of fear.
So the same conflicts might still appear, but now they're seen for what they are, opportunities. Opportunities to finally apply the learning that was blocked before.
Yes, you're no longer trying to achieve a different outcome. You're simply allowing a recognition to occur. Which brings us to another huge idea in this lesson. Salvation is not an achievement. It's a recognition.
We are so deeply conditioned to think of it as a goal to be reached. If I just meditate enough, or am kind enough, or work hard enough, then one day I'll earn salvation.
It's the ultimate carrot on a stick. And this lesson just takes the stick and breaks it. It says, when you choose this way, you recognize salvation is already here. It's not in the future. It's not a reward. It's the fundamental truth of your being right now.
Which means any effort to attain it is actually a denial of its presence. If I'm striving for it, I must believe I don't have it.
The striving is the block. The ego loves to strive because striving keeps the goal in the future. Recognition requires you to drop the future, drop the identity of the seeker, and just accept what is.
Yeah.
The moment I recognize my own salvation, I have to recognize yours too.
Because if it were an individual accomplishment, it would reinforce the idea that we're separate. My salvation would be different from your salvation.
And that would make the illusion of separation real. But salvation is the undoing of that illusion. So it has to be a shared recognition, a collective waking up. When I accept my part in the plan, I am simultaneously accepting the perfection of your part and every part.
Okay, so this all sounds beautiful in theory, but then we get to the practical reality of it.
Trust, in this context, isn't an emotion. It's not a feeling. It's what holds you steady when your rational mind has run out of answers.
Because the mind wants proof. It wants a 5-year plan. It wants a guaranteed return on investment before it will take a step.
And guidance almost never offers that. Guidance might say, be still, when the world is screaming, hustle. It might say, speak this truth, when every self-preservation instinct is telling you to stay quiet. It very rarely makes logical sense in the moment.
That discomfort, then, can almost be a sign that you're on the right track. You're moving beyond the ego's comfortable, predictable patterns. But how do you know it's real guidance and not just, wishful thinking or the ego tricking you?
That is the essential practice. And the lesson gives us a very clear metric. Genuine guidance leaves peace behind it. But we have to be very careful to distinguish true peace from its counterfeit, which is relief.
Peace versus relief.
Relief is what the ego feels when it successfully avoids something it fears. Let's say you're in a job you hate and you get guidance to leave, but you're afraid. So you decide to stay. In that moment, you might feel a wave of relief because you've avoided the scary unknown. But the underlying misery, the lack of peace, is still there.
Whereas true peace, that's different. Let's use that same example. The guidance is to leave the job. The act itself is terrifying. There's no relief in it.
None at all. It might involve difficult conversations, financial uncertainty, a lot of worldly turmoil. But if the guidance is true, underneath all that surface-level chaos, there is an unshakable core of rightness, of deep, quiet peace. It's the peace of alignment, the peace of knowing you have honored your appointed way, regardless of the temporary form it takes.
So the real evidence isn't in the immediate outcome. It's in the quality of your inner state after the choice is made and acted upon. True guidance restores your sense of wholeness, even if it shatters your external circumstances for a while.
And this redefines our whole idea of purpose. I know for years I thought my purpose was something I had to go out and find, like a treasure hunt. And it had to be something big, something impressive.
An achievement.
A book to write, a company to build. But the lesson says you have a special place to fill. That specialness isn't about worldly importance. It refers to the specific, unique way that love needs to express itself through you.
This is that idea of function versus achievement.
Achievement is measured by the world. It's about results, numbers, impact. Function is internal. The function is always the same for everyone, to extend love. But the form of that function is unique to you.
So my function could be expressed through raising a child, or through coding software, or through listening patiently to a friend.
It could be expressed by the way you bag groceries. The form is irrelevant. The function is about the love you allow to flow through that form. Your special place is the space you occupy in this very moment, waiting for you to say yes to it.
If we really take that on board, it completely dismantles the entire game of comparison, which is the source of so much pain for so many people, looking at what others have, what others are doing, and feeling like we fall short.
Comparison is the ego's favorite weapon to keep you off your appointed path. It dangles someone else's function in front of you and says, see, that one is better, more spiritual, more important. Yours is insignificant.
But the lesson says, no one's part replaces another's. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. The piece in the corner isn't more important than the nondescript blue piece in the middle of the sky. Without every single piece, the picture is incomplete.
And if that little blue piece is busy wishing it were a corner piece, it's refusing to fill its own special place. It's holding up the completion of the whole picture. That's what we do when we compare. We abandon our post.
And when you stop comparing, the need to compete just evaporates. Competition is based on a belief in scarcity, that there's only so much peace or love or success to go around, and I have to fight you for my share.
But if our shared purpose is to extend a love that is infinite, what is there to compete for? You naturally shift from competition to cooperation. You start to see how my function and your function, even if they look completely different, are designed to interlock perfectly.
This even changes how you see conflict in relationships. It stops being a battle of me versus you.
It becomes a cooperative learning experience. You realize that this moment of friction, this disagreement, isn't a mistake. It's the curriculum. It's the precise point where our appointed ways have intersected to help us both see a block to love that needs to be removed.
So you stop taking it so personally. It's not an attack on me. It's a part of the plan for our mutual healing.
And the day-to-day result of living this way is a profound sense of simplicity and security. Decision-making becomes so much easier.
Because the criteria changes, you're no longer trying to calculate every possible outcome, asking what's in it for me, what's the risk?
Right. You're just asking one question. What feels aligned with truth right now? All that mental energy that used to go into worrying, into planning and predicting, it's freed up. Worry is the engine of the ego, and it runs on the fuel of an uncertain future.
But if you trust that you're walking through a plan that is already complete, the future loses its threat. The security is no longer in knowing what's going to happen.
The security is in knowing who you're walking with. It moves entirely inward. I don't need to know what tomorrow will bring because I trust the guidance that is present with me today. It's about letting that truth shape what you do and say in the most ordinary moments.
And that leads us to the end of the lesson, which is just so beautiful and comforting. And all my sorrows end in your embrace, which you have promised to your son, who thought mistakenly that he had wandered from the sure protection of your loving arms.
This gets to the very root of every fear and every sadness we have ever felt. The one single mistaken belief that it's possible to be separate from our source, that we've wandered away from safety and are now lost and alone.
And the lesson says the sorrow ends because we realize we never left. The wandering was just a dream.
A mistaken thought. Following the appointed way is simply the process of waking up from that dream. Every time you choose to follow that inner guidance, you're peeling back another layer of the dream, another layer of forgetfulness.
Which is why the lesson says to make this choice willingly and gladly. It's not a chore. It's not a path of grim determination.
It's a glad choice, because you are remembering that this appointed way is the unfolding of your own true will, the expression of the love that you are. It's the path of least resistance back to the memory of who you are.
So the appointed way and the embrace, they're the same thing. The path is the destination. Every step taken on that path is a step taken inside the safety of those loving arms.
Thank you for joining us for this exploration of A Course in Miracles in Practice.
If this lesson brought anything up for you, or if you have questions, please feel free to reach out. You can email us at acim@theworldharmonyproject.org.
And you can also find us and connect on TikTok at the World Harmony Project. We hope you carry this sense of gentle guidance with you.